Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into Reverend Daryl's heartfelt reflections on Jesus' teaching that love is the absolute foundation of all spiritual life. Through scripture, some really gentle storytelling, and practical encouragement, we're going to explore what it truly means to love God with our whole heart and to love our neighbor as ourselves. Basically, this message invites us all into a deeper, much more intentional walk of compassion, connection, and Christ-centered living. It's just a beautiful, warm reminder that every single act of love, big or small, becomes a direct reflection of God's presence in our world. So let's start with the inciting incident. There's this incredible, pivotal moment in the Gospels where a teacher of the law comes right up to Jesus with a life-defining question. Honestly, it's one a lot of us still ask today. Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law? I mean, that is a massive question, right? It's all about our core priorities, our ultimate purpose, and figuring out what truly matters at the end of the day. And Jesus? Well, according to Reverend Daryl, he answers without even a moment's hesitation. He reveals what Daryl calls the very heartbeat of God, saying, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." In that single, powerful moment, Jesus isn't just giving a quick summary of the law. He's showing us that literally everything begins with love. It all flows from love, and ultimately it all returns to love.
Part 1. Loving God completely.
Now, here's where Reverend Daryl makes a really crucial distinction about what Jesus actually meant by loving God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Because, it is so easy to think that God is demanding flawlessness from us. But faith, it isn't about forced perfection at all. It's entirely about orientation. It's about intentionally turning your heart toward the one who already loves you completely. It's essentially an invitation into a relationship that's deep, honest, and wholehearted. So what does that orientation actually look like in daily life? It's super practical. It's just waking up every single day and having the simple, honest posture of saying, "Lord, I want to walk with you. Lord, I want to trust you. Lord, I want to love you more fully." Daryl presents this not as some rigid religious formula, but as an ongoing daily conversation. And here's the kicker. You literally can't force this kind of love. You can't just muscle your way into loving God. Instead, it grows completely naturally when we practice 3 simple, everyday steps. First, spending time with God. Second, actually quieting down to listen for His voice. And third, allowing His grace to gently shape us over time. Which brings us to part 2, loving your neighbor. Because Jesus doesn't just stop at loving God. He immediately drops the second commandment that perfectly mirrors the first. Love your neighbor as yourself. Reverend Daryl points out something super profound here. It's like Jesus is saying you simply cannot love God deeply without also loving people deeply. The two are completely intertwined. Your love for God actually becomes visible in how you treat the people around you. And wow, does this illustrate a real challenge for all of us. I mean, let's be honest, it is so easy to love people who are exactly like us, right? The people who agree with us, the ones who are naturally easy to be around. But Daryl's message challenges us to extend that exact same love to the people who don't agree with us and the ones who truly stretch our patience. Because that, for sure, is where the rubber meets the road in any spiritual walk. We've got to remember that in this context, love isn't just a passing feeling or some warm, fuzzy emotion. No, it is an active, highly intentional way of living. It's the daily practice of patience. It's actively choosing kindness. It's embodying compassion. Basically, love here is an action verb, not a static noun.
Every single day, we're constantly at a crossroads when interacting with others. We have to choose understanding over judgment. We have to choose mercy over anger and generosity over indifference. Making these positive, intentional choices is what actively reflects the very character of God to our neighbors in real, everyday life.
Moving on to part 3, the foundation of faith. I really want you to think about the massive weight of this concept. Jesus tells us that all the law and all the prophets hang directly on these 2 intertwined commandments. Think about that. Every teaching, every single prophecy, every instruction, every story in the scriptures, the whole shebang rests directly on love. Without it, the entire structure literally collapses. So as the source material describes, love is the absolute foundation of the spiritual life. It also frames the true measure of our spiritual maturity. It's not about how much theological knowledge someone has. It's about how well they love. And finally, it serves as the undeniable, rock-solid evidence of God's presence within us. When we embody these principles, loving God and loving people, we are truly living out the gospel in its purest, most authentic form.
And finally, part 4, a love that transforms.
Because practicing this kind of love, it isn't just about following ancient rules. It's presented as something that fundamentally changes us from the inside out. When we practice real Christ-centered love, it actually softens our hardened hearts. It heals those old lingering wounds. It completely reshapes our priorities in life. It opens our eyes to the urgent needs around us that we might have completely ignored before. And ultimately, it draws us closer to God and to one another. It's described as the ultimate path to becoming who God originally created us to be. As we wrap up today's explainer, I want you to take a breath and let this warm reminder from Reverend Daryl really settle into your spirit. You are loved by God with a love that is whole, complete, and unwavering. No matter what circumstances you're facing right now, this message presents that as the foundational truth of your existence. The source material leaves us with this incredible, provocative call to action to carry with us into the day. So I'll ask you, who will you share God's love with today? May our hearts be open, our spirits be willing, and our lives be a true reflection of the love that Jesus taught. Thanks so much for exploring this message with me today. Remember, love is the ultimate message, and you are never alone.